I stood in the corner of the company holiday party, holding a glass of cheap champagne, when Brad Thompson looked at me and said the words that had been implied for 3 years. "You don't belong here, Yuki." Not really. He thought we were alone by the bar. But my boss, Sarah Chun, the VP of Engineering, was standing right behind him. And what happened in the next 30 seconds didn't just end Brad's career, it exposed a pattern of discrimination that had been hiding in plain sight for years. My name is Yuki Tanaka, I'm 29 years old. And for 3 years, I've been a senior software engineer at TechCore Solutions in Seattle. I write code that powers systems used by millions of people. I solve problems other engineers can't crack. And for 3 years, I've watched Brad Thompson, a product manager with half my technical skills, take credit for my work, dismiss my ideas in meetings, and treat me like I'm his personal assistant. My parents immigrated from Japan with engineering degrees that American companies didn't recognize. They worked service jobs so I could go to college. And now I was living their dream, except the dream included being invisible in rooms full of people who look like Brad. It started my first week. I'd just joined TechCore, fresh out of grad school, excited to work on cutting-edge systems. Brad was assigned as my onboarding buddy. "So, Yuki," he said, pronouncing my name like Yucky. "Where are you from?" "San Francisco." "No, I mean, where are you really from?" "My parents are from Japan." "I was born in California." "Oh, cool. My girlfriend loves anime." That should have been my first warning sign. The real problem started 3 months in. We were in a team meeting, discussing architecture for a new feature. I proposed a solution using microservices that would improve scalability. "That's interesting," Brad said, "but probably too complex. Let me think about it and get back to you." 2 days later, in the executive meeting I wasn't invited to, Brad presented my exact solution as his own idea. It was approved immediately. He got praise from the VP. I got nothing. When I confronted him privately, he smiled. "Yuki, that's how things work here. Ideas come from discussions. It's collaborative. You're too worried about credit." It happened again. And again. 6 months in, I built a monitoring system that caught a critical bug before it went to production. Saved the company potentially millions in downtime. Brad sent the announcement email to leadership. The team, under my direction, implemented a new monitoring solution, ... quotes. The team, under his direction. I'd built it alone over 2 weekends. A year in, at my performance review, my manager said, "Yuki, you're technically strong, but you need to work on your communication and leadership skills. Brad mentioned you struggled to articulate ideas in meetings." I struggled to articulate ideas because Brad talked over me in every single meeting. 2 years in, Brad was promoted to senior product manager. I stayed a senior engineer, same level I'd been hired at. "Don't worry," Brad told me. "Your time will come. You just need more visibility." More visibility. From the guy who'd been making me invisible for 2 years. The microaggressions were constant. "Yuki, can you take notes in this meeting?" "Yuki, can you explain this to the team? They might understand it better from you." Translation. The technical explanation from an Asian woman felt less threatening than from him. "You're so quiet. Yuki, you should speak up more." Every time I spoke up, he interrupted. Brad had a habit of assigning me work in public that made me look like his subordinate. "Yuki, can you handle the documentation for this feature?" "Yuki, I need you to review this code by end of day." "Yuki, let's sync up." "I need you to walk me through your implementation." His friends in product and management loved him. He was invited to golf outings, happy hours, the unofficial meetings where real decisions got made. I was invited to none of them. "It's not personal," a well-meaning coworker told me once. "Brad just has a good network. You should try to build relationships too." How do you build relationships when you're never invited to the places where relationships form? 3 months ago, I architected and built an entire new authentication system that increased security and reduced login time by 40%. It was the biggest technical achievement our team had delivered in 2 years. Brad presented it at the company all-hands meeting. Really proud of the work the team did here. This is going to be a game changer for our users. Not once did he mention my name. Not once. I went to HR, filed a formal complaint. Explained the pattern: 3 years of taking credit, 3 years of being treated as support staff despite being a senior engineer. The HR rep, a white woman in her 50s, smiled sympathetically. These things can be subjective. It sounds like a communication issue. Have you tried talking to Brad directly? I had, multiple times. It changed nothing. Without concrete evidence of deliberate misconduct, she said, there's not much we can do. But we'll note your concerns. My concerns were noted. Nothing changed. 2 weeks ago, rumors started that there would be 2 promotions announced at the holiday party. One to principal engineer, one to director of product. Brad spent those 2 weeks telling everyone casually, confidently, that he was getting the director role. It's pretty much locked in, he told his lunch crew in the cafeteria, loud enough for me to hear. Sarah pretty much confirmed it. I said nothing. I'd learned that speaking up only made me look bitter. Tonight, the holiday party was at a trendy venue in downtown Seattle. Open bar, cater food, a DJ playing music too loud for conversation. The whole company was there, 200 people mingling, drinking, pretending to enjoy forced fun. I wore a simple black dress, stood near the edge of the room, nursed cheap champagne, and wondered why I'd even come. Brad was in the center of everything, laughing with his crew, 3 other product managers, all men, all white, all convinced they ran the company despite engineers doing the actual work. I went to the bar to get water. Brad appeared beside me, already drunk, tie loosened, smelling like bourbon. Yuki, there she is. The silent coder. He laughed like this was hilarious. Hi Brad, you excited about the announcements tonight? Should I be? Well, I mean, not for you obviously, but for me? Pretty excited. He leaned closer, whiskey breath hot on my face. Director of product. Can you believe it? 3 years busting my ass, finally paying off. I said nothing. You know what's funny? He wasn't asking. You've been here the same amount of time as me. Same start date. But look where we are. Me about to be director. You still just coding. I like coding. Yeah, but come on. There's a reason some people move up and others don't. He looked at me, eyes glassy. Some people just fit. They get the culture. They vibe with leadership. They belong. And others ... He waved his hand vaguely at me. Others are great at the technical stuff. Really great. But they don't have that something extra. That leadership quality, you know? My hands were shaking. I gripped my water glass harder. Brad, don't get me wrong, you're valuable, super valuable. As an engineer, I've told Sarah that so many times. Yuki's great at executing. That's high praise, Yuki, executing, following direction. Building what we tell you to build. I don't just execute, I said quietly. I design, I architect. I solve problems you don't even understand. He laughed. See, that's the attitude thing I'm talking about. You're defensive. Leadership isn't defensive. Taking credit for other people's work isn't leadership either. His smile faded. What's that supposed to mean? The authentication system. The monitoring solution. The microservices architecture. Those were all mine, Brad. You presented them as yours. That's collaborative work, Yuki. We talked about this. You're too focused on individual credit. No, you took my work and put your name on it. For 3 years. Jesus Christ. He looked around to make sure no one was listening. You need to drop this. You filed some complaint with HR. Yeah, I heard about that and it went nowhere because there's nothing there. You're just bitter that you're not getting promoted. I deserve that promotion more than you do. Deserve? He laughed, louder now. You think you deserve it? Yuki, look around. Look at the people who succeed here. They're leaders. They're strategic. They're people who fit the culture. You? He leaned in close. You don't belong here. Not really. You belong in a cubicle writing code while people like me make the real decisions. The words hung in the air like poison. You don't belong here. I felt tears threatening but refused to let them fall, not in front of him. Not ever. Brad, you should. I should what? I should pretend that you're executive material? That you're leadership? Come on. You're a good engineer. That's it. That's all you'll ever be. Just accept it. Then I heard the voice behind him. Is that so? We both turned. Sarah Chen, VP of Engineering, stood 3 feet away holding a wine glass, her expression unreadable. She was 45, Chinese American, one of the few women in executive leadership. She'd been standing there the entire time. Brad's face went white. Sarah, we were just what? Just explaining to one of my senior engineers that she doesn't belong here? That she never be more than a code monkey? That's not what I meant. That's exactly what you meant. I heard every word, Brad, every single word. The bartender had stopped pouring drinks. People nearby had gone quiet, sensing drama. Sarah stepped closer to Brad. You just told Yuki Tanaka, one of the most talented engineers I've ever worked with, that she doesn't belong at this company. That she lacks leadership qualities. That she's only good at executing. Sarah, if you let me explain, no, you're going to listen now. Sarah's voice was calm but lethal. For 3 years, Yuki has been doing exceptional work. Work that you've been taking credit for. Work that I've watched you present as your own in meetings. Brad's confident smile was gone completely now. You think I didn't notice? Sarah continued. You think I don't read code commits? I don't see who actually builds features? Brad, I've known for 18 months that you've been stealing Yuki's work. I've been documenting it. Waiting for you to either come clean or hang yourself. The nearby crowd was growing. People were staring now, phones probably recording. Tonight, you chose to hang yourself. Sarah pulled out her phone, opened an email, and started reading aloud. This is from March 15th of this year. Yuki Tanaka submitted a design proposal for our authentication overhaul, 47 pages. Detailed architecture, security protocols, implementation timeline. I have the original document timestamped and saved. She scrolled. March 17th. Brad Thompson presents his idea for authentication improvements to the product leadership team. His presentation is 13 slides. 11 of those slides are pulled directly from Yuki's document. Word for word in some cases. Brad tried to speak. Sarah held up her hand. June 3rd. Yuki builds the monitoring system that caught the production bug. She worked 2 weekends. I have the commit history. Every single line of code is hers. But Brad sent the announcement email taking credit for team success under his direction. She looked at Brad. Yuki wasn't on your team, she reported to me. You had 0 involvement in that project. The crowd had doubled. I saw executives watching, engineers pulling out phones, the CEO standing near the stage looking concerned. September 9th. Yuki proposed the microservices migration. I have her original proposal. 3 days later, you presented it to executives as your strategic vision. You got praised. You got a bonus. Yuki got nothing. Sarah's voice rose slightly. For 3 years, Brad, you've systematically stolen credit from one of my engineers. You've dismissed her in meetings. You've talked over her. You've assigned her work publicly to make her look like your subordinate, even though you have no authority over her. You've created a hostile work environment. I never meant to. You told her tonight in front of witnesses that she doesn't belong here. That she lacks leadership qualities. That she never be more than someone who executes orders. Sarah looked around at the crowd. Everyone here should know something. 3 weeks ago, I nominated 2 people for promotions. One for principal engineer. One for engineering director, a new role reporting directly to me. My heart stopped. Brad assumed he was getting the director role. He spent weeks telling everyone it was locked in. Sarah's smile was thin. He was wrong. She turned to me. Yuki, the promotion to principal engineer is yours. Effective immediately. 20% raise, equity increase, and you'll be the technical lead for our most critical projects. I couldn't breathe, couldn't process. And the director of engineering role? Sarah paused. That's also yours. You'll report directly to me. You'll oversee a team of 15 engineers. You'll have budget authority and a seat in executive meetings. The room erupted in whispers. But, Brad stammered. Sarah, I was told. You told yourself. Sarah cut him off. You assumed. And your assumption was wrong. Yuki earned both these promotions through 3 years of exceptional work. Work you tried to steal. Work you tried to erase her from. She looked at HR director who'd appeared in the crowd. Janet, we need to talk about Brad's employment status. Tonight. Brad's face was red. This is insane. You're basing this on what, one conversation? One misunderstanding? No, I'm basing this on 3 years of documented evidence. The conversation tonight just confirmed what I already knew, that you're not only incompetent, you're discriminatory. You've created a hostile environment for a woman of color, taken credit for her work, and explicitly told her she doesn't belong at this company. Sarah addressed the entire room now. Let me be crystal clear about something. TechCore's success is built on brilliant engineers like Yuki, not on product managers who steal their work, not on men who talk over women in meetings, not on people who think culture fit means everyone looks and acts like them. She looked directly at Brad. You don't belong here, Brad. Yuki does. She always has. HR escorted Brad out within the hour. He was suspended pending investigation. By Monday, he was fired. The investigation that followed revealed he'd done the same thing to 2 other engineers before me, both women, both minorities. They left the company rather than fight. I stayed. The CEO made a public apology, announced mandatory bias training, created new policies for credit attribution and promotion transparency, but the most meaningful thing happened the next Monday. I walked into my first executive meeting as director of engineering. 15 people around the table. I was the only woman, one of 2 people of color. The room went quiet when I entered. The CEO stood. Everyone, I want to introduce Yuki Tanaka, our new director of engineering. Yuki, welcome to the leadership team. Then he did something unexpected. He started clapping. Slowly at first, then the entire room joined, a standing ovation, not for my promotion, but for surviving 3 years of having my work stolen, my voice silenced, my belonging questioned, and still choosing to stay and fight. After the meeting, Sarah pulled me aside. You know why I waited? She asked. Why I didn't stop Brad sooner? Why? Because I needed him to expose himself. If I'd acted on suspicion alone, he would have claimed bias, that I was favoring you. But when he said those words at the party, you don't belong here, he gave me everything I needed. He showed everyone exactly who he was, she smiled. Sometimes the best way to catch a predator is to let him think he has already won. 6 months later, my team has shipped 3 major features. I've hired 4 new engineers, 2 women, all from underrepresented backgrounds. I make sure they're in every meeting. I make sure they get credit. I make sure they know they belong. My name is Yuki Tanaka. I'm 29 years old. At an office party, a coworker told me I didn't belong there, that I'd never be more than someone who executes orders, that I lacked leadership qualities, that I should accept my place. But my boss heard him. And she'd been waiting for 3 years for him to reveal himself completely. I didn't just get promoted. I got validated. Every line of code I wrote, every idea I contributed, every moment I felt invisible, it was all documented, recognized, valued. My parents didn't sacrifice everything so I could be invisible. They sacrificed so I could be exactly who I am, an engineer, a director, a leader who earned her seat at the table despite everyone who tried to push her away from it. I belong here. I always did. And now everyone knows it.